He's Tyler Jones. I am Harrison Graham. You're watching College Football Now by Chat Sports. And on today's video, we are almost in bowl season. So we're going to project every single bowl game, starting with the College Football Playoff. And full disclosure, other than the Big 12 Conference for Power 5 leagues, there's not really like a tier system anymore for the bowls. It's kind of just almost like an auction-style system, so it's not like the higher-ranked bowl games that you're familiar.
Who can sell tickets?
Yes, that's how it works. TV ratings, all that stuff. So we're doing our best. There is some guessing involved, so stay with us here. Let's start with the Sugar Bowl, which is one of the College Football Playoff semifinal games. We did a little bit of a survey at Chat Sports, and Texas got the nod for the number 4 spot in the CFP. Georgia would be the number 1 seed, so obviously Texas is going to get a little bit of help from Florida State along the way here. But the number 1 seed gets to choose between the 2 locations. Tyler, Georgia would choose the Sugar Bowl in this case versus the Rose Bowl.
Man, this would be a fantastic matchup. And we saw these two teams face in the Sugar Bowl a few years
2018.
ago. Right, and that was the infamous Texas is back win. I think that you would have Quinn Ewers playing at his very best, and that would make this, I think, actually a closer game than most people would anticipate if we got that matchup.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting one. In the Rose Bowl then, Michigan and Oregon. So our staff projects Oregon to beat Washington. Michigan takes care of business. So the 4 teams, Georgia, Michigan, Oregon, and Texas in the CFP. It would be fitting, Tyler, to see a Big Ten Pac-12 matchup in really the last ever true Rose Bowl, it feels like, as the playoff is expanding. And, of course, the Pac-12 is dissolving here.
Yeah, and you would have teams that are pretty evenly matched. Michigan has been one of the best teams in the country all year. Oregon is red hot right now. Bo Nix looks fantastic. That would be a game where I think you'd have contrasting styles to a bit, too. Oregon wants to put a lot of points on the board. Michigan wants to be the more physical team. That could be a very good game.
We'll kind of speed things up as we get beyond these big New Year's 6 matchups. But what is your favorite bowl game? And, look, I like that the playoff is expanding, but it's kind of some of the tradition things we're losing does suck. Like the Rose Bowl will never feel the same. In some regard. Obviously, like as a kid, every New Year's Day, the Rose Bowl is going to be on at, 4 o'clock Eastern, whatever it is. So let us know what your favorite bowl game is. The Fiesta Bowl, Washington and Alabama. Look, these are 2 teams vying for playoff positioning, Tyler, but this would be a fun consolation if they met up in a New Year's 6 game and not the playoff.
Yeah, and we hear from Alabama all the time that if it's not the playoff, they don't really care. That it just doesn't mean as much to them, and so they would already have the excuse ready for a loss to Washington. Maybe it's the last game of Nick Saban's coaching career, too.
Who knows? That would be a fun one. Missouri and Tulane, not the most fun consolation prize for Mizzou. We saw what Tulane did to USC last year in the Cotton Bowl, but both teams in position to make the New Year's 6. If Tulane beats SMU in the AAC title game, they should be the group of 5 participant. In the Cotton Bowl, Penn State and Florida State. This game would have had a lot more juice had Jordan Travis stayed healthy, but could be a fun one just down the road from us here in our Chat Sports studios in Dallas.
Yeah, and for Florida State, even though they wouldn't be making the playoff in this situation, still something to be proud of for their success to bounce back what they've done, Mike Norvell and company. Not the ultimate prize they wanted, but I think it'd certainly be rewarding for them to get that Cotton Bowl. Citrus Bowl, Iowa and Ole Miss. Your favorite team, Harry?
You want to talk about contrasting styles? Ole Miss wants to run 100 plays and score 50 points under Lane Kiffin. Iowa wants to punt and wait for the other team to make mistakes and score that way. So, yeah, that would be something if those contrasting styles met here coming up in the bowl season. Notre Dame, LSU. This would be a fun, I think, high-scoring game, Tyler. Sam Hartman can sling it for Notre Dame. Jaden Daniels looks like one of the best players we've seen in a while. Take the over.
This is what used to be the Outback Bowl, by the way. I don't know what ReliQuest is, but Brian Kelly facing his former team.
Oh, true that you got that angle as well. That'd be a fun game. Take the over if that ends up happening. The Music City Bowl in Nashville, one of my favorite non-New Year's Six games. Wisconsin and Auburn, you've got the name pedigree, a couple of teams trying to find their way once again in college football, but those teams will travel to Nashville. You can book that. The Arizona Bowl, Fresno State versus Ohio. The Barstool Sports Bowl game. That should be a lot of fun.
Yeah, certainly should be. Ohio, that offense, Fresno State has been an exciting team for much of the season as well. It certainly would be a fun matchup there, and the Barstool element too would certainly be exciting as well. Let's tell you about today's sponsor. That is Prize Picks. Prize Picks, the place to go for daily fantasy made easy. With Prize Picks, it's pretty simple, folks. You get the choice of more or less on any given category, whether you want to go with fantasy points, receiving yards, passing touchdowns, a number of different options to play along on Prize Picks. Here's what I got in Prize Picks. I'm doing a little mixing and matching between college football and the National Football League this weekend. I got my guy Geno Smith to have more than 230.5 passing yards against the Dallas Cowboys. I got Bo Nix to have more than 332.5 passing yards in the Pac-12 championship on Friday night against Washington, and also for Bo Nix to have more than 10.5 rushing yards as well in that Pac-12 championship game. Download Prize Picks today and get a $100 deposit match on your first deposit. PrizePicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS to play along with me and Harry on Prize Picks. You'll be glad you did. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video.
In the Liberty Bowl, we've got Iowa State taking on Appalachian State in this projection. Matt Campbell and the Cyclones bouncing back this year. App State, of course, always a dangerous opponent. That should be an interesting one if it, of course, plays out.
The Sun Bowl, Miami and Oregon State in that matchup, and it would be Oregon State's final game as a member of the Pac-12.
Yeah, no Jonathan Smith as he's off to Michigan State. Tyler Van Dyke in the transfer portal for Miami, too. We'll see if DJU enters the portal again for the Beavers, so you could see some new faces playing in that one. Tennessee, North Carolina, Joe Milton, the roller coaster it was this year. Drake May, we'll see if he plays in the bowl game for Carolina. He bleeds Carolina blue, but we'll see if he gets advised to sit this one out. That one projected into the Gator Bowl. How about the Alamo Bowl? This is always one of my more fun games. Oklahoma, Arizona. Now, the Big 12, if Texas does make the college football playoff, which we do have them projecting, there is a scenario where Oklahoma gets an at-large bid. It'll really just come down to those New Year's Six, a couple of those bowls decisions. We have them in the Alamo Bowl, but Brent Venables, either way, did a nice job in year two, Tyler, going from 6-7 to 10-2. And against Arizona, you want to talk about a fun matchup? That would be a fun matchup.
I think so. And for OU, too, I think that this is an accomplishment to get back to where they were before Lincoln Riley left town. It was this bowl game that they were in a couple of years ago. So that's huge for that program. Arizona, a lot of excitement there. Pop-Tarts Bowl.
Yes.
Formerly known as the Champ Sports Bowl. The winner of this game is going to get to eat the mascot.
Oklahoma State, NC State, and that one. Georgia Tech, Rutgers. Georgia Tech's doing a nice job getting that program back on track. Rutgers had a nice year. Kind of stumbled down the stretch, but if you're Greg Schiano and you're going to bowl games, you're doing a nice job with that football program. That would be in the Pinstripe Bowl. Shout out your favorite college football team in the comments. He's a Kansas fan. I'm a TCU fan. Let us know who your squad is down below.
Still got to get to them, too.
Yeah, there you go. The Fenway Bowl, South Florida and Boston College. Boston College would have home field advantage in this one at Fenway Park. The Texas Bowl, Kansas State, Texas A&M, a former Big 12 matchup in that one.
That's a home game for A&M.
Is Mike Elko going to coach? Bobby Petrino might be off to Arkansas. Who knows what's going to happen there. Clemson and USC in the Holiday Bowl. A couple of teams trending in different directions. Clemson finished the year strong. USC, Tyler, did not.
I would be shocked if Caleb Williams plays in this game.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one.
The most coveted bowl game of all. The Duke's Mayo Bowl. The winner gets the Mayo Bath. And this would be a great basketball game.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Duke, Kentucky. Mike Elko, we'll see who they replace him at Duke, but he is off. The Military Bowl, Virginia Tech versus Memphis, and Virginia Tech is bowl eligible once again. Memphis had a nice season as well. The Guaranteed Rate Bowl, your Kansas Jayhawks, Tyler, and how about the job that Braun, I'm forgetting his first name at
Mike
Northwestern, did filling in for Pat Fitzgerald after that whole situation.
Oh, yeah, he did an incredible job there. Kansas, back-to-back bowl games. Lance Leipold doing an incredible job. One of my favorite cities, Phoenix, Arizona. And the last game for Jason Bean, I'm sure that they would love to see him go out with a bang and get a bowl win as he ends his college career. The First Responder Bowl in Dallas at a Gerald Ford Stadium, UCF and Air Force. Harry, military schools tend to do really well in these bowl games.
Yeah, you've got this one. You've got the game in Fort Worth as well. The Quick Lane Bowl, Toledo in Syracuse at Ford Field in Detroit. The Hawaii Bowl, it's a shame it's not on Christmas Eve, but with NFL Sunday falling on Christmas Eve this year, that's just how it goes. San Jose State and Marshall. The Hawaii Bowl doesn't feel like the Hawaii Bowl if A, Hawaii's not in the game, and B, if it's not on Christmas Eve. So.
And C, it's not at Aloha Stadium.
Yeah, that's a pain. That is a pain. We'll be live on Sunday to reveal the college football playoff teams, who is in. We will let you know. Hopefully there's some drama to discuss, but we'll see how Conference Championship Week plays out first. Utah and Maryland in the Las Vegas Bowl. That's a fun game to kind of get things going early on in bowl season there with the Utes and the Terps. 68 Ventures Bowl, South Alabama, Northern Illinois in that one. Don't forget, South Alabama took down Big 12 title game participants Oklahoma State 30-7 earlier this year.
Yeah, that's a good team. The famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Boise State with a home game against Miami of Ohio, the Fighting Tom Downies.
Yeah, and they actually had a pretty good season this year with the younger brother of Blaine Gabbert leading the way there. Texas Tech and SMU in the Armed Forces Bowl in Fort Worth. SMU having to play in their rival stadium in this one if that plays out. The Camellia Bowl, Texas State and Eastern Michigan in Montgomery, Alabama. Texas State was on the scene earlier this year when they hammered Baylor earlier in the year. Little did we know it would be a tough year.
Yeah, first-year head coach
G.J.
Kinney's done a really good job, the former
really
University of Tulsa quarterback. Birmingham Bowl, UTSA and Georgia Southern. UTSA, very good team this year.
Yeah, listen, Jeff Traylor's done a nice job. He's been connected to the Houston job. We'll see what happens there. Gasparilla Bowl, always a fun one. A mouthful. Yes, we're putting them against each other. James Madison, Jacksonville State. Let's find out who the best team that wasn't supposed to go bowling but is now bowling is. Let's just have them play each other, Tyler. I would love this.
Oh, it'd be great to see. It'd be huge for their fan bases. The Boca Raton Bowl. I would love to go to the Boca Raton Bowl.
I'm in. I don't care who plays.
Coastal Carolina, Western Kentucky. That Coastal Carolina program has been very steady.
Yeah, and with Jamie Chadwell leaving still to get bowl eligible, that's a solid job there. How about Old Dominion bowl eligible this year? They'll take on Minnesota in this bowl projection out in Frisco, Texas. A little bit of a disappointing year for PJ Fleck and the Golden Gophers, but still bowl eligible once again, representing the Big Ten Conference. The famous Toastery Bowl, Georgia State versus Bowling Green. It's always fun to go to Charlotte. And then in the Independence Bowl, December 16th, getting things going early. West Virginia and Cal.
Everybody loves Shreveport.
Yeah, there you go. My dad's from Shreveport. Neil Brown going 8-4 this year for West Virginia. Cal getting to a bowl game for the first time in a few years. The LA Bowl, UCLA versus UNLV. I believe this bowl is going to become the Gronk Bowl next year.
Yes, it's this year.
This year, okay.
It's the LA Bowl hosted by Gronk.
That's going to be incredible. Should be fantastic. The New Mexico Bowl, New Mexico State and Wyoming as we finish up these projections here. The Cure Bowl, Rice versus Arkansas State. That one in Orlando. And then in the New Orleans Bowl, Troy and Liberty. Kind of feels unfair if 12-0 Liberty has to play in the New Orleans Bowl, but if Tulane doesn't lose this week, that's probably the caliber of bowl game they'll play in. The Myrtle Beach Bowl, Louisiana, The Raging Cajuns versus Utah State.
That's another bowl I'd like to go to.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's get our tie-dye shirts going.
I'm in. And there you have it. Bowl projections, but all the focus is on the college football playoff. Which 4 teams will make the CFP? Let us know, and we will see how it all plays out this weekend.